Yeah, not usually some weeks I'll get tons of calls because there'll just be a lot of guys want to hear what other groups are on and vice versa. And guys want to get bets down. That's mainly what my deal is now is I'm getting guys bets down. That's how I'm able to hear what so many smart guys are doing. Because they want to get money down here in Jersey. I'm the guy to call Chad. So this week, maybe it is part of we're so late in the season here, and a lot of guys are kind of, they've already won big. They're not really going to push their luck, and they got playoffs right around the corner. And I think most people realize that even these last couple of weeks, we've seen the numbers. 2 weeks ago, the most bet money was on Denver. We saw last week the most bet money on the Bears. If that was week 1 or 2, me and Chad would go the other way, blindly almost, because we know that's public money. At this point of the year, it's just all pros. Like it really is. Even when I go to the sports books now, it's just empty. It really is. It's just different than it is in week 6, 7, those early weeks. Seems like the public's kind of getting beat up here. So this week, talking to guys, not that we're so much split, but like again, we can go right off the top. A game that there's guys on both sides. Guys love the Cowboys, and I don't fault them for that, but I feel like they love the Cowboys for the same reason we were gonna love them. Like if Hurts was healthy and this game was either a pick or -1 for Dak at home against the Eagles, the 13-1 Eagles, we would have been all over the Cowboys. And that's like I keep saying these guys. Yes, I agree with your idea and your sentiment that are the Eagles that much better than the Cowboys? Not really, honestly. Like they're pretty close, especially on paper. The biggest difference is the quarterback position. I just think Hurts is better than Dak, especially this year right now. So the Minshew movement makes sense. We're seeing now the lines up to 6. That makes sense. So the pros that hit me up, they're saying, yeah, I'm taking Cowboys now 4.5 because I do think it's going to be Minshew. I do think the line is going to go back up. They nailed it. And I was the other way where I thought 4.5 was already factoring in Minshew was going to be in. So definitely a game you're going to have to talk about where it's interesting that it's split down the middle. I know a bunch of pros like me that they already hit Dallas at a pick and -1, and then they played the Eagles at +6, at 5.5, and at 5. When I went to 4.5, I just waited because I was like, all right, I'll wait and see what the Minshew news is. Did not see it getting back to 6. So that's definitely one we need to talk about. Next big one, no surprise, everyone saw the line movement. We talked about it last week. I mean, on Tuesday, Green Bay. The pros love Green Bay. They've hit that number down to 3.5. Now it's back up to 4. That's just a good number. So I still think we'll talk about that. A 4.5. I feel like Green Bay is a no-brainer. At 3.5, I guess I could pause and maybe start thinking the other way. But I still think if we could get the 4.5, Green Bay is a smart side. And then the Patriots. Like the pros, the funny thing is talking to these guys who've just been losing on the Bengals, and me and Chad, we've been avoiding, honestly. Like I've had maybe during this streak, I bet you I've probably been on the Bengals 5 times. And I've been against them once. So I
Yep.
took the L. I took the L that one time, but for the most part, it's been really good to me. These other guys have been getting smacked around by Joe Burrow. They fucking hate Joe Burrow now, which is funny because last year that was their guy. They kept betting him as a dog. He kept covering all last year, and this year it's really flipped. Right, the public all over him. The guy went to the Super Bowl last year. He's kind of the darling of the NFL. This 11-1 run's insane. So I love it, Chad, at 3.5, but at 3, that makes you pause. I mean, I feel like anyone that's going to make you pause at 3, where it's like, why isn't this still 3.5? Because the public has done nothing but bet this all week. So no surprise, the pros were all over that one. They loved that 3.5. Still like it at 3, but I think 3.5 was really the key number for a lot of these guys, where that was such a big deal to them, getting that hook. Because Joe wins games, he wins by 3 usually. Like these last couple of weeks, he's been kind of dominating, blowing teams out. Historically, we've seen them play close games. So not surprising that a lot of pros are on that one, but more so surprising that I didn't think people. I thought they'd be scared off because they like again they're all over the Bucks. I know some really smart groups all over the Bucks last week, and they got slaughtered. Like they really
Yeah.
did get slaughtered. So interesting calls this week on a couple sides we like, and the biggest disagreement is going to be that Cowboys Eagles game. And I just think that's going to be normal when there's a backup quarterback coming in. It's going to be people staking their sides on both sides, saying this guy's overvalued or this guy's undervalued. And right now, a lot of pros they just have such respect for Hurts. They don't think he's getting enough respect on the line. They think it should be 7. They say you're still going to get value at 6 if you're taking Dallas.
All right, a lot to unpack. Before we got on the air, Matt Mitchell mentioned he was curious to see if we were getting calls about the Cowboys and the Eagles, because I do think that's a game where there is just no consensus. Before we do that, let me ask you a question because you brought up a really good point. At the end of the year, it's a lot of pros betting, and you know that the money coming in is professionals. And so I was on the phone this morning with Logan Swaim, who oversees content for the Volume, the Colin Cowherd's podcast network. Logan's a brilliant guy. Logan is the one of the guys who created this sensibility and was the producer for Good Morning Football on the NFL Network for a long time when sort of it was at its zenith. And
So
we were
that's who we have to blame.
yeah, no. And so we were talking about betting, and
Yeah.
he was asking me like, am I betting more at the end of the year? And I was like, yeah, my bankroll, like my unit size has increased sort of as the year has gone on, as we make more money,
Right.
as we continue to do well. And also because I just have so much more confidence in these final games. Like the board just feels clearer to me.
And it's like the other way for the other people because they're like, they've just been so burned, right? The public has just been so burned when they have perceptions coming into the year. And when those perceptions don't work, they have a hard time adjusting to it. Which is always fun. People listen to our clips from the summer and they'll either talk shit or support us and they'll just be like, you guys really did nail that Jags pick, just about how the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence could take that next step, yada, yada, yada. And that's kind of the way I view the season where I'll come in with perceived notions, but we keep adjusting. By like week 4 or 5, that's when you really guys are trusting the math. Like so Chad said, I honestly let a lot of money sit on the table this year because we were so good. I just kept waiting for a disaster week. And by week 11, it just wasn't coming. I was like, all right, forget it. Like I got to get back to my ways of just betting big amount of money because it's just a good year. And it's been that way all year. So yeah, I think the interesting part is it's Christmas time. Like these are normal people living normal lives. They got to buy presents. We all know it is. Like it's everyone's a little tighter. So the money, most of the money bet right now is going to be pro money. It's going to be pro money and millionaires who are going to be throwing the money around. It's not really going to be the $5-10 parlay guy at the counter like it usually is. So that's definitely something you notice where like every weekend, I mean, it's been 2 straight weeks for me. I picked the team with the most bet money that usually would scare me off, but it doesn't at this point of the year because I know that's pro money, especially when it's a huge dog. So, like you just said, it's the public will come back in the playoffs, but for right now, it's mostly pros and the people that were smart managing their bankroll to this point, which obviously should be hopefully fans of the show, but fans of other shows, they're probably broke at this point because it's hard to make money.